Welcome back, my lovely beans, to another video for this week. We do have the Aeolak. Why do we have the Aeolak as this week's topic? Because I did an Aeolak Void Cascade run because chat voted for it. You already saw the Aeolak run with Loki as a whole. If you want to check it out, feel free to do it. I'll leave the link below. But since I already built the Aeolak and I invested a whole whopping 7 formers into it, I was, why not test around a little bit more for it and see what we can put together to, have a little bit of fun with the weapon. First things first, how to farm the Aeolak. The Aeolak will be farmable when you unlock Zeriman. It is really annoying to farm. The blueprint you get from Zeriman bounties, the stock and your receiver you both get from Void Flood Sea rotation, and the barrel you get from Void Cascade Sea rotation. So it is really annoying to get. But what you also can do is you can get, and I will say that without any pressure, you can get for $4.49 the Aeolak starter package. I don't tell you to do it. I'm just telling you it is available. It is a starter package where you get a max duration, so you would also save you the endo. You get 100 plat and you get the whole already built Aeolak. Just so you know it is existing. Just so you're for starters, the Aeolak has a base crit chance of 21% and a status chance of 33%. It is mastery rank 10. And the most interesting thing, consider it a bug or not a bug, it has multiplicative Gunsio with galvanized aptitude, and that what we will also use for most of the builds today. If it will get, changed in the future, and it will get fixed if it counts as a bug. It is never confirmed that way. Then, it still will be a good weapon. It will be not as great anymore, but it still will be usable. First things first, if you have not seen my build or my setup, I used a Loki. So for my Void Cascade run, I used specifically the Crepuscular. I said it for primary. I took advantage of Crepuscular, where I got a final crit multiplier, and I used Rage for more base damage, together with Spectral Serration and Hatch. And I will be honest, as you saw if you already watched the Void Cascade run, I did use a Riven. I specifically used the Riven to have crit chance to get higher to 100% crit chance, because if you use a normal build with only critical delay, with just critical delay, you have the issue you will not reach 100% crit chance, which will be annoying for most runs. But that would be, for example, a nice build for an Invis build. If you don't have the Riven, what you will do is you have to sadly drop the Bane, because you can't save that. You will drop the Bane, you will drop the Riven, and then you will mod for whatever element you want. I would suggest most likely to always go Corrosive, because that is, in my opinion, the best if you want to run Void Cascade, because the green charge, you don't have to, prime as much. And Hush simply so reduces the chances enemy will hear gunfire. Simply, while you stay invisible, enemy will not find you. I personally prefer a primary Crux in this build. Status chance on ammo efficiency, especially with the ammo efficiency, you don't have to reload as much. Really comfortable. I use also Prime Tread. A really nice setup. You have your enemies. Also, pretty easy. I mean, most of you probably know that. Thanks to Nourish, you will get your rival. You get your headshots. Enemies are down. If you actually hit some headshots, would be even better. But we all do know headshots are not my strength, so nothing we need to, like, you know, comment on. But that is a really nice build, in my opinion. Then, a really typical build, you know, if you would not run it with Invis, would be like, you know, change out Spectre Serration to normal Serration, because with Crux you need base damage. In my opinion, Galvanized Aptitude is not enough. Maybe depends if you think if you can keep up your stacks for Galvanized Aptitude and Rage, it would be enough. I prefer to still have base damage. So Serration for me it is. If you think you don't need Serration, then drop Serration and you could run here Bane, but personally I find it too annoying to keep up your sticks. Maybe in the survival there it would be enough, but since I personally run more Void Cascades where you move a lot between rooms, there it is not. And in the end, I have Vigilant Supply simply because of the 10% chance to enhance critical hits. You could also run Stabilizer, because I find sometimes when you like actual aim the weapon, it feels a tiny bit off, but I'm not sure if Stabilizer does help a lot with that. So maybe if you want to feel more comfortable, Stabilizer it would be for you, but that's up to you. Just test around. Like, I feel like Exilizer a lot is simply what makes you feel more comfortable. If you, by the way, saw my Riven and you saw the minus projectile speed, I can only tell you either it is actually bugged or projectile speed is not being affected, but I don't have to run terminal velocity because the projectile speed is not being affected. I don't know what it is. Then Ivara setup is a tiny bit of a fun setup. If you want me to show it. If you know Navigator, right? You can do a little bit of a fun setup with Navigator here to hit some funny numbers, you know. If you would actually, like, you know, prime your enemies, it would actually be more. I do have my epitaph. You want to, like, get your quiver up. Actually, you want to get your... Oh, God. You actually want to get your quiver up. Prime the enemies. I don't want to, like, prime... And then try to hit headshots and you get some, like, you know, nice numbers. And then you try to hit headshots. If you actually hit the headshots, you get some nice numbers. You saw 4 millions. You can get up to, like, ooh, what did I hit? Actually, I think, like, up to 80 millions or something you can hit. So, it's actually kind of nice. You can, like, try to, like, hit some nice numbers if I can hit it. $12 million. I think the issue is like the priming, and I don't have enough duration on my priming. 36. But you see, like, the idea behind it. It's like, it's simply a fun build because, you know, some people like to hit big numbers. I wanted to show you some big numbers. It's like, you know, typical primary Deadhead, primary Acuity. Once again, a Riven because extra crit chance. Galvanized Goat, Galvanized Aptitude because, you know, multiplicative gun, CO, point strike. You would probably want to run critical delay here. Once again, it simply didn't fit in my build because of, you know, primary acuity. So definitely run critical delay here. I just didn't have enough points to do that. So definitely do that. I personally did run punch with fire rate. If you want to, like, run here something else, definitely do that. Spectre Serration and hash. So you don't, you know, get visible while using Prowl. Really nice. And then for Ivara, if you're wondering, you want to run negative duration so your navigator is slower. And then a lot of strength is literally the setup, and rage for more weapon damage. And Mold Argument is a bit, I don't even get the stacks, but that's beside the point. Then we have a Deadhead build, where you get, thanks to Galvanized Scope, you will get way higher with the crit chance, even without a Riven. Not ideal, but, at least better. I think that is a setup that you would like to run for Disruption, because I know that some people like to run this setup for Disruption, or like Aeolak for Disruption. So once again, you have the multiplicative Gancio from Aptitude, you have Chamber, you have your base damage this time from Primary Deadhead, that's why we don't need Serration. We have the extra crit chance from Galvanized Scope. We do have critical delay, vital sense for damage, critical damage. We have our element, whatever you want. You would have to have, obviously your primary. You would obviously have your primer for, slow, for cold, then shred. And that would work with literally everything. If you probably use it with Mirage, you get, some funny numbers here. Let's spawn random ones so we get some stacks first, and then let's also use some armor strip. I sometimes dislike my primer or my pad, because they're knocking them over, and then I have a hard time shooting. Because excuse me, could you knock them over? Excuse me? I'm trying to show you something, But yeah. Nice little pokes. There we go. Some red kits. That's exactly what we want to see. That's exactly what we want to see. But yeah. That's a nice one. Okay, what do we have then? If you buy the weapon, or if you got it earlier, this build is fitting. I know it looks horrendous, but as a beginner build, okay. We do have Serration. If you don't have it max, don't worry. You can fit it in max if you want to use a max one. If not, feel free to use, a lower rank. Absolutely fine. We're using Split Chamber for multi-shot. If you would like to run Vigilant Ornaments, that is fine. Absolutely fine. Vital Sense for your critical damage. Critical delay, it is a Hurricane mod, but I simply believe you have it. If not, use Point Strike. Stormbringer for, your electric, and Malignant Force for your toxin, so you together have corrosive. Yes, I do prefer corrosive. You can run something else if you would like to. I would suggest in the beginning to actually pay attention what elements you need for which mission and swap it. But in general, I would suggest corrosive. If you don't know that and you're new to the game, if you hover over missions, you can actually see what the enemies will be weak to and what they are resistant to. And if you struggle to kill enemies, actually try to mod for that element. That can be a big, big help. So you begin on each weapon with 3 loadouts. What you actually can do is to put in different elements in the beginning and click, and you can also name, as you can see, it, and just name it corrosive, viral, radiation, or Grenier, Hurricane, infested, or if you have Banes and you want to already work with Banes, if you already have, little formers on, and you have invested a former into weapon, and then in addition to your element, you always want to put the base form of a Bane. Do that, You're doing amazing. For the beginners, it is a walk. You can crawl. Take your time with this game. Just because you see all of this doesn't mean you're doing anything wrong, because you're here. Okay? You're doing amazing. So, for those now that are wondering for the Outfire. The Outfire. The Outfire is great if you have some stacks. The Outfire shots a 7-meter radius and is affected by Firestorm and Cautious Shot, right? And the Outfire, by the way, is not affected the charge by fire rate. I don't think it's worth modding specifically for the for the Outfire, because if you have some stacks from like your normal build, I think I was running exactly this build here in the showcase, and then I like used the Outfire. Absolutely fine. I tested to try to get some setups for the Outfire with, Prime Firestorm and different elements, extra blast or extra, I think I also tested a gas setup. It's not worth it. Run your normal setup, and then when you see a group of enemies, try to hit it. You can hit, by the way, the floor or a direct enemy. Both works. It will also penetrate through the walls. You don't need to have direct line of sight. Both good. Against acolytes, the weapon is, at least on the setup that I tested. Maybe I did not hit them really well with that. So maybe for acolytes, bring a second weapon where you feel comfortable with. And the Outfire doesn't have punch room. That's maybe also kind of important. Thank you so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed the video. Let me know which weapon we want to test next, and have a nice day.